Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Montreal Canadiens franchise mode series here on NHL 18, and today we continue to sim through our third season. We, of course, started off on a pretty strong note, a 7-3-3 record, good for 17 points. We're currently in second place in the Atlantic Division, but of course, there's still a long way to go, and you know, despite how the last episode went with setting up the team, there are, of course, some concerns, specifically over the third line, and even more specifically over Nikita Shareback, which, again, we are keeping an eye on him and his development throughout this season. There are definitely ways this team could still improve, but for now, we're going to stay the course. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to look to sim a decent portion of this season. I mean, who knows, if we, decide maybe the team's good enough and we're winning 60 games, we might not have to make any further moves. But for now, let's aim to sim to December 1st, and we'll see how kind the month of November is to our team. Let's take a look here. Scouting-wise, we were over in Russia, if I am not mistaken. Goddamn left thumbstick still broken. Yes, hell, you will know when I get a new controller, because I'll stop complaining about it. For the moment, actually, we were already done with the SHL. I guess we'll continue the trend of scouting 2 weeks everywhere. We'll see how that goes. So we beat the LA Kings, we lost to the Arizona Coyotes, and then Daniel Audette returned from injury and is back to 100%. I'm actually not sure who he was in the lineup for, to be honest. I'm looking at the team. Was it Ikonen? I honestly don't remember. He's still in the lineup. Why are you telling me he's back to 100% if he was never out of the lineup to begin with? I don't care. Good. Let him keep playing. And then there's an injury that we have to worry about. Jeff Petry's going to be gone, for a couple of days, so it's not the worst case scenario. And in the meantime, we'll call up Noah Juleson. Why not? Now, that is the one thing that could be concerning as we head towards a cup run, is the distinct lack of defensive depth on this team. It could prove to be a problem. It's an easy fix if we decide to, it is a very easy fix if we decide that, okay, we are absolutely going for it. It is cup run time. An easy fix, by simply acquiring, certain players off the free agent list. Yes, that would mean certain players have to sit down in the AHL, and that's why I haven't set the team up like that. But for the moment, we're looking all right. Again, hopefully we can stay injury-free for the majority of this season. I shouldn't have gone best lines because now I'm going to have to edit a lot of them. But I'm going to have to edit a lot of players out of our lineup. But it is what it is. I'll bring in Stelio. We'll take out David Brohl in favor of Ikonen. And then Samu Jaskalainen. We'll get into the lineup in favor of Nick Petty, or whatever the hell his name is. It was Nick Petty. All right, well, there you go. So that team is set. We'll see how Juleson can do over the next few days. Petry is already back. Boy, that sure was worth it to have to edit everything, wasn't it? Oh, I love it. I love it. That's the worst. Like, if someone's going to get hurt, have them be out for 2 months rather than just a couple of days. It's kind of the big pain in the ass with this, but that's okay. All right, so let's fix that up. We will just go best lines on the defense. Although it's funny, it puts Petry on the third pairing over Derek Forbort. I'm a little bit surprised at that. We'll go with it for now, just to see if Petry ends up complaining, and I have to go best lines again here. Unfortunately for the defense, I have to get Juleson into the best possible situation that we can. So let's edit all this again. Hooray! I mean, quick and easy. At least I know the 3 players I'm going to be putting into the lineup and the 3 players that I'm taking out of the lineup. But still, I mean, it could be a little bit, more convenient, we'll say. It would be nice if best lines by default, I mean, granted, it wouldn't exactly be best lines. It would be ideal lines as an option to not have it put AHL level players into the lineup. Fukale goes down to a concussion. God, and there's the left thumbstick. That right there is the perfect example of how this thumbstick is broken. Right. That was, I couldn't have asked for a better example. Damn it. I just need to start using the D-pad here as we navigate the menus. So you might hear that little bit of extra clicking in the background, but at least I can avoid a situation like that again. So as it stands, the lines are kind of screwed up again. So let's go ahead and change this for a third time. Let's do it. We'll put Stelio back in. We'll take David Brohl out. Eventually, I'm going to get sick of doing this, and we'll just leave those players in the lineup. Sooner rather than later, if I had to guess. But there we go. The team is set up yet again. I need to take this damn controller apart. See if I can fix it before buying a new one. But at the very least, I typically get, like 6 months out of these controllers. This one's lasted me a little bit longer. These damn controllers are made to break. They really are. But it is what it is. Let's see, we have a 10-4-5 record, and Forbort goes down for about a week or so. All right, injury after injury. It's just my favorite thing. It is. Hey, again, like I always say, I think I even said, I said this in the Hartford episode I just recorded before this. If injuries bothered me that much, I would turn them off. It's fine. I like the extra bit of drama that you get from having injuries be a factor in your series. However, or in my series, when it's injury after injury after injury, and they're only for like a week apiece, and you have to sit here and just keep editing the lines, that's probably been the majority of this episode, so far at least, has been editing these lines. I can tell you now at this point, our ideal stopping point will be, our ideal stopping destination will be once we get right around the trade deadline. And in that way, we can see if we have to make any improvements from there. Not that I really expected, good lord. Not that I really expected to make it through the entire season in this episode, but you get the point. And Fucale's back in already. Good. Good. As we beat the Minnesota Wild. Landon Ferraro's 100%. I already saw he's in the lineup, so that's fine. We can move forward. I'm not sure how good this team is going to be, though. That is a thought. That is a thought. I am concerned about Nikita Shareback, much like everyone else. He has 7 points so far this year. We got to send down Juleson again. I'm struggling at this point. You'll notice it specifically in the Hartford episode that goes up alongside this one. I'm a little bit under the weather today. So when it comes to trying to make, this entertaining and interesting, it can be difficult to begin with. When I'm sick, it can be even more difficult. And when we've had nothing but injury after injury, it is damn near impossible. And unfortunately for Noah Juleson, I don't care about your power play time enough to have to edit 3 different players. There we go. You're back in the lineup. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll be right back up at the main club sooner rather than later, if November is anything to go off of. All right, I thought that was going to be another injury. I was about to get really pissed. But we finished the first 2 months of the regular season with a 14-7-5 record. The Laval Rocket are doing relatively okay, which is nice. Of course, there was that debate as to how to set them up this season. So far, we've done okay. I mean, Tampa, they're doing that much better, at least. We do have the 2-point, lead on the Bruins, but they have a game at hand, so it's close right now. We haven't been able to gain that separation from the rest of the pack, much like the Bruins have. So that's a bit disappointing. But let's take a look right now at the point totals. Max Pacioretty's having himself a great year with 33 points this far. Galchenyuk's doing well. Drouin's doing okay. I'd prefer him to be doing a little bit better, but he's doing okay. Second line, Puljujarvi with 17 points. It's not awful. 17 points in 26 games. Charlie Coyle with 15 points, 17 points for Gallagher. Okay, so they're all in about the same range. I mean, Gallagher being at 17 points makes me feel a little bit better about Charlie Coyle. The third line, Charlie Hudon. Oh my God, what's the matter with you? 1 goal. You had 4 goals last year. I think Charlie's time here is coming to an end. I was so happy with that season right there. 35 points, 19 goals. And it's not working out for him. It's just not. I'm going to put him at center just to try and get him some different looks. That third line is really struggling. All 3 of them. Which really sucks because those are the 3 players at least for me, that I really would have wanted to have stepped up. I mean, even Philip Deneau is doing okay, considering he's situated on the fourth line. So at the moment, we'll still keep an eye out on how that third line does, but there's a really good chance that we could see some changes with that third line before the end of this episode. Now, again, Petry's not happy about ice time, so we will swap him for Forbort. I'm more worried about Petry. Forbort's only here on a one-year deal. And aside from that, I think we're pretty much good to go. How's the goaltending done? Price has been okay. Ryan Miller's done really well so far in his limited appearances, but he only has one win on his record. So let's keep going. We'll keep simming. We'll keep an eye out on certain players. And again, we might have to make changes, but right now it's too early to tell. We'll move forward. We'll see if the, changes on the third line, at least, moving people around, we'll see if that can get them going. Not sure if that will be a thing for us, but one can hope. As we'll scout out Germany, and we'll scout out the forwards for a week, the defensemen for 2. And we'll take it from there. As we lose to Colorado in overtime, but hey, I'm all right with losing games as long as you get the pity point. And of course, we lost to Chicago without getting said pity point. That's always great. German defenders for 2 weeks. We lost to Ottawa. We beat Detroit, which is nice. I mean, if we can... Never mind. I was going to say, at least if we can, win the majority of games over division rivals. We just went, we went 1-2 in the past week. That's great. 15, 10, and 6. I'm going to sim till January 1st. But it's at that point where I'm already considering making drastic changes, and we might have to stop before that point as we continue to lose games here throughout the month of December. We need to stop right now. We need to stop right now. We're at risk of falling too far behind already. Not sure what's going on with this team. EA, if you could please stop simming. Thank you. I hit the B button for a reason. Let's take a look at the standings right now, but we have had an abysmal month, and we are currently back in 5th with 36 points. We're not exactly out of it, but we're right back in the middle of the pack instead of, hanging up there with Tampa, which is where I really wanted us to be. So let's take a look again one more time at certain players. Pacioretty, fine season so far. Galchenyuk, 28 points in 34 games. Good, at least. 27 points for Drouin. That's okay, again, as well. Puljujarvi, 22 points. I mean, he had 42 last year, so he's at least on a good pace. So I'm all right with that. 20 points for Coyle, 23 for Gallagher. That's not awful. You'd want, or at least I'd want, a little bit more out of them, but it could be worse. Third line is where it gets worse. Arturi Lehkonen has 7 points in 34 games. 10 points for Charlie Hudon, 7 points for Nikita Shareback, and we have minus players on that line as well. On the fourth line, 6 points for AJ Greer, 16 for Deneau, and 6 for McCarron. We need to make changes. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop Shareback. He'll be the fourth line center at this stage. And again, you could argue, I mean, is it time to cut ties with Charlie Hudon? He at least has 10 points this year. He's sort of on pace to hit 24 points again. Not good enough from him. Not good enough at all. And then Arturi Lehkonen, 35 points, 36 points, 7 points. He hasn't exactly, taken the progression path that we thought he would either. So we're looking at making some major changes to this team unless this reunited third line that brought us so much success in the past, unless that third line can figure it out and find some way to start delivering. And then defensively, that top pairing is just not working out. Yeah, the third pairing's good, but that top pairing is not. So we're going to reunite Petry with Weber, and we'll have Darnell Nurse with Matt Dumba, Forbort, and Butcher. And we'll see how that goes. The goaltending, Carey Price, that's not what you expect from Carey Price. I'm not a big fan of paying someone $10.5 million for league average goaltending. You can blame the team in front of him if you want. It's still Carey Price. He has to be better. And we've seen him underperform in the past in this series. So there are definitely concerns right now with this team. We're going to sim a little bit further into the season. But if these struggles continue, it's not going to be that much further. And this will prove to be a short episode because we're going to have to find, moves to make. We're going to have to find changes. We're going to have to decide what changes we want to make. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. We have ourselves a game on Christmas Day against the New York Rangers. All right, well, we'll sim a week to January 1st. We'll see if the losses continue, and indeed we do lose 4-2 to the Rangers. We lose 3-2 in a shootout, and then Jonathan Drouin goes down to a sprained ankle for a couple of weeks. This has been a nightmare season for us so far, and I'm honestly starting to think that we might be closer to rebuild territory than we would have hoped for. That is a possibility. I want to keep that second line together. I'm going to bump Shareback up to... You know what? You might think I'm crazy for this. This is Shareback's time to prove himself. He has 9 points right now this season. We are going to play him with Galchenyuk and with Pacioretty. If he can't get it done with this big of an opportunity, he's gone. Simple as that. Simple as that. So we'll see what he can do. This is his chance to prove himself. I am going to go best lines really quick, and then I think all I have to do is take out Petty in exchange. Actually, no, there are 2 different players I need to take out. We'll remove David Brohl as well. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Nikita Shareback. This is his time to prove himself. He gets a couple of games. I mean, we just lost to Carolina again. So we'll sim until Drouin's healthy. It'll be just before the 11th. We just lost 8-3 to Toronto. We're able to beat Ottawa. We have a big game against the Bruins here. But very clearly, this just frustratingly isn't working out. We do get back-to-back wins. Can Drouin be fully healthy, please? I'd appreciate that. There we go. He's back to 100%. Okay. How did Shareback do? He is up to an 80. No points. No points. He's done. He has to be. He has 9 points in 40 games. He's done. Simple as that. He is gone. Let me send down Landon Ferraro really quick. And then we'll take a look at this team again. And we'll figure it out from there. I'll worry about the AHL lines later. I'm really not all that concerned about Landon Ferraro. So, as far as this team goes, Max Pacioretty, 39 points so far in 40 games. He's been great. There's no questions about Patches whatsoever. There isn't. The only question would be is if we decide to just scorch earth this entire franchise. That would be the only consideration with him. Alex Galchenyuk with what, 30 points in 40 games? That's not bad. I'd like those numbers to be a little bit higher, but it's not bad. And then Jonathan Drouin, of course, has 27 points in 37 games. Again, I'd like it to be a little bit higher. He's at least on pace to have more than 13 goals this year, which is great. But aside from Pacioretty, I don't think I'm wrong to, want to see more out of Galchenyuk and Drouin. Second line, Puljujarvi, whatever. 29 points. He's a -6. Now, again, he is on pace to break his point total from last year, which is good. It's what I was hoping for. I mean, he does have some offensive abilities. You could argue he's like the perfect third-line player because of his defensive abilities. But still, he's only 21. He's going to keep getting better. At least you would hope. Charlie Coyle, 29 points in 40 games. 28 points in 40 games, excuse me. I was looking at the -2, and it's like, again, I'm sick. I don't have an excuse for that. I don't. I thought it said 22 assists. I'm wrong. It's not terrible. Again, that's not awful. And then 29 points for Gallagher. Again, not bad. You could want a little bit more from the top 6 aside from Pacioretty. It's not bad. Charlie Hudon, 12 points so far. On pace to finish with the same amount of points as last year. I wanted him to be like a featured part of this team. Now, again, you could argue, well, I changed him from a sniper to a two-way. I mean, his stats are more, suited as a two-way. But even then, as a two-way, that still doesn't excuse you not putting up points with the attributes you have. So the argument we have right now is changing certain player types. Again, Pacioretty as a power forward's doing great. Galchenyuk, I mean, he's pretty much the ideal playmaker. We'd pretty much want Drouin as the sniper on that line. So that's pretty much set. On the second line, I mean, Puljujärvi, whatever. I'm going to keep saying Puljujärvi. I don't care. You could argue, I mean, he's pretty much good as a two-way. You could maybe argue a sniper. With Charlie Coyle, I mean, it's pretty much power forward for Charlie Coyle, let's be honest. And then Gallagher, pretty good as a two-way. I mean, despite, only the fact that he's only 5'9" compared to, the other power forwards we have on the team, you could argue he'd be better suited as a power forward. And then the third line, Charlie Hudon. The option is trade him or switch him to a playmaker and see how he does from there. But again, it's like you look at his stats, his attributes, he's a two-way player. He even has that physical ability. I don't think we'd want to change him to a power forward or a grinder either. He's a two-way player, and he's just not getting it done. So that's what we have to decide right now with Charlie, is do we change the player type or just say, no, it's not working, you're gone. With Phillip Danault, he's staying. I mean, he's our third-line guy. I love Phillip Danault in this game. He's done well on the fourth line. He is our third-line center, no questions asked. And again, as far as player type goes, he's a two-way. And then Artturi Lehkonen, someone else where it's fairly disappointing. He has 10 points this season in 40 games. You could argue playmaker. You could argue sniper. You could argue for trading him. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Down in the old comments below. I'm surprised nobody's tried to trademark that saying, knowing how YouTube is. What do we do with Artturi Lehkonen? Change him to a sniper or trade him? What do you think? What do you think? The only other option, really, with Lehkonen would be to put someone like Gallagher down on the third line and essentially have the third line be Danault, Coyle, and Gallagher, because they're a bit more defensive. And then try to get like these big-time playmakers, legit top six guys, more offensive-oriented top guys in our top six, which, again, is that necessarily worth it? I mean, at the very least, we're not paying these guys all that much. They would be decent third-liners for us, but again, you have to remember cap space is a bit of an issue because Hudon's not making that much and Lehkonen is not making that much. On the fourth line, AJ Greer, I was a bit concerned about him. You could argue changing him to a grinder, actually. It would probably be better suited for him. He has 8 points this year, which isn't bad. I had zero expectation for Greer. I will probably change him to a grinder for the next episode. And then Nikita Shareback. Again, you could argue playmaker. You could argue sniper. He has 9 points. I even gave him a couple of games on the top line where he didn't do anything. He's gone. He has to be. And that's what sucks. Again, Hudon, Shareback, Lehkonen, I wanted these guys to be a part of the team moving forward. It just hasn't worked out. It just hasn't worked out. And then Mike McCarron, I love having him on the fourth line. Decent enough player, 9 points so far this year. So the question is, Hudon, Shareback, Lehkonen, what do we do with those three players? Do we change player types? Do we trade them? What do we do? What do we do? And then, of course, there is that ultimate decision of do we try to salvage the season, which that is the plan. We will try to salvage this season. We will try to make the playoffs. So keep that in mind with whatever you suggest. We are trying to make the playoffs. If that doesn't happen this year, if we miss out on the postseason, we're blowing it up, finally. And I mean blowing it up. Max Pacioretty, he'll be traded so that he can go to a cup contender. Galchenyuk and Drouin might stay. Puljujarvi will stay. Coyle's gone. Gallagher might... I mean, Coyle and Gallagher, they're 27 at least. You could argue for keeping them. As someone just slams their door outside. That's great. But, you know, Pacioretty at this point, we're trying to... You know, we'd want to send him to a cup contender. We wouldn't be trying to win in his window anymore. We'd be trying to win with Galchenyuk and Drouin down the road. And Gallagher at that point would be Pacioretty's age. Charlie Hudon, just... I mean, he's in the right age bracket, but he'd be gone. Philip Deneau would probably stay. But I don't... And yes, I know. Shea Weber continues to drop. I know. Ask Mark Bergevin why he traded for him in the first place. But we'd try like hell to trade him. We'll see what happens. Again, for the moment, the plan is to go for the cup. The plan is to stay the course and try to get this team in the playoffs. If that doesn't happen, and we're not in the playoffs, and we're not even close to the playoffs by the time trade deadline comes up, we will blow it up this season. So we are in a very, very crucial period of time right now for this team and for this franchise, this series as a whole, because we don't know how exactly we are going to progress. And as far as trading options go, I mean, I could sit here and look through the block, but at this point, it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, the more important thing is looking at certain players' values. And Shareback, it's not great. Like, that's maybe a second-round pick from the right team. But as far as, like, pulling off a blockbuster deal using Nikita Shareback, that is not going to happen. Same with Charlie Hudon, as far as his value goes. Same with Artturi Lehkonen, although he looks to have a tiny bit more value than the other players. So that helps a little bit. At least a little bit. Guys, that will do it for this one. I look forward to your feedback as far as what we should do with individual players, as again, we try to turn this season around. And if we can't, next episode, or at least the episode after that, could be very, very interesting. So again, I hope you did enjoy. If you did, feel free to support the video and all that normal stuff. Links in the description. You know all of this. It's fine. I'll see you guys in the next one, where who the hell knows what's going to happen to the Montreal Canadiens.